Hello and welcome back to the Heart Artistry Podcast. Today we're going to be diving into an episode that is going to be a big riff. It's going to be an activation. It is going to land in your soul. This is really going to be me speaking from my highest truth and my own artistry of my heart when it comes to feeling discouraged in your business or feeling like you want to see bigger results, bigger numbers, feeling like you want to create more than what you're seeing. Like if your results are you're looking at your results and you're like, I like this and yet I want to create something so much bigger. Or I see my numbers and I see the people looking at my work and my content and my stories, and yet I want to go 10x. Like my business is doing well, things are good, but I see a much bigger vision. And this is going to feel like a love letter for someone who is looking to close the gap in between where you are right now to where you know you want to be. And if you're feeling either discouragement or you're just feeling a little bit like, the 3D reality is taking its time, right? Like you feel it in your soul. You are here to create a massive global movement, and yet like you want to see just a bigger level of movement in your life, in your business, in what you're creating. You want people running to your offers. Like you might be someone who's like, okay, the clients that you're working with, they love your work and they are raving about it. You get incredible testimonials. You know your work is incredible, and yet you want more people signing up at a faster rate, right? You want people running to you with their credit cards, and you want that to happen instead of far and few between, right? Or only during launch cycles, or only if you do certain things. You want to create a massive explosion of clients. You want to build a massive movement and revolution, and this is where you want to take your business that's already good, but you want to take it to great. You want to take it to the next level. You want to create extraordinary work. This episode is for you. So who I'm really speaking to inside this space is someone who is very heart-centered, someone who your business is an expression of your soul's purpose. Like what you want to create is beyond what you can even really fathom. Like you know that you have a concept that is going to go way beyond this lifetime, right? This is really the person that I love speaking to, is creating a larger than life, beyond this lifetime type of legacy. And I also can understand that when you're leveling up in your business, right, there is this knowing that there is always a level of growth. There's always a level of expansion. There's always a level of belief work that needs to be done. And sometimes there are times where you'll do classes, courses, coaching, offers, different services, right, where it's like, you are not seeing the number of people. Like if your master classes where you should sign up, it's like, okay, there's definitely a handful of people, and you might have a handful of people who show up to anytime you do a free class. Maybe you do in-person sessions, maybe you put on events, maybe you do different types of launch event series, things like that, right? You always have a group of people that will sign up. Those are like your ride or die people. But you want to attract a bigger level of people. You want to attract a group of people that are like, oh my goodness, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is what I would say. So number one is, there's so many things. Number one, I would say is, when you are growing a thriving business and you're setting it up as a movement, you're setting it up as this is your legacy, this is your revolution, right? This is something that you're building from the inside out. Owning where you are. Okay, owning where you are. And this doesn't need to come from a place of shame. It doesn't need to come from a place of guilt. It doesn't even need to come from a place of like, this is wrong and I guess I just have to accept it. That's not what I mean by owning. Owning where you are means you're just taking what is happening and you're just saying like, this is what it is. This is where we're at right now. And I am going to learn to love it. I'm going to find a way to love where I'm at while also having my hand in desire, right? Also having my hand in, I know that this can be bigger and better and even more explosive. Like there are going to be moments in your business where it's going to feel like there are going to be moments in your business where it feels like, why am I not further along? Okay. And I think one of the most important things to keep in mind here is that there is a truth to where we are in this moment. So if you can hold the duality of your numbers don't lie, and if you're currently making, let's just say you're making $15,000 months, if you're making $15,000 months and you want to be creating $30,000 months, you are currently at the calibrated level of 15K. That doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be bad. It's just the truth of where you are. Now, can that also change in an instant? Absolutely, right? Just because you're calibrated to 15K months this month doesn't mean that you can't have a 30K month or even a 30K week next week. So all of this gets to change and shift in an instant. None of this is set in stone. And the only way that it does become set in stone, the only way it does become this self-fulfilling prophecy that ends up bringing itself to fruition over and over and over is when we create these mindset barriers that really box us into feeling like this is just where I'm at and I don't know why I'm here. And this is so frustrating that I don't have more people in my masterclasses. And why are my Instagram story views getting lower and lower? And why is this not happening and that not happening? So what we end up doing is we can sometimes create this emotion and energy of resentment, looking for something outside of us to blame, right? And what that does is it takes it prevents us from taking full ownership and accountability for what we have created. Okay. And then it stops us from actually putting our scientist hat on and getting to the root of the issue, experimenting, evaluating, right? Which are some of my core themes that I talk about, especially inside my mastermind. And really understanding like, where is it? What am I creating here? Why am I creating this? How am I perpetuating this? How am I creating this self-fulfilling prophecy, these self-fulfilling results in my business, right? Because if we're always looking at external results, if we're always looking at what's happening on the outside, my story views are low. People aren't signing up for the masterclasses, not as much as I want them to, right? I might have 50 people signed up, but I want 100, or I might have 20 people signed up and I'd love to have 50, right? Whatever it might be. It's like or maybe it's like, okay, I have people signed up, but they're not converting. They're attending the masterclass. They're not converting into my offers. Why aren't they converting into my offers? So before we even get to the question of why are they not converting, understanding the pipeline between when someone finds you to the point that they take out their credit card to pay you, we also have to understand that we need to own these results on a big scale. Like we have to own that this is exactly where we're at. We, for some reason, in some way, we've created this result. We are we're somehow calibrated on this frequency, on this wavelength to these specific results. Now, if you've read Existential Kink, by the way, great book. I highly recommend it. I essentially send it to all of the women that I work very closely with. So the Existential Kink method, right, that Carolyn Elliott highlights and accentuates inside her work is that when there is something that we are creating in our reality, she says having is evidence of wanting. So if you have something that shows up in your existence, there's some part of you subconsciously, right? And she goes into the kink part of it, which I love, she goes into the kind of kinky, like, oh, there's this subconscious kinky part of you that loves it, right? Like, you don't, on the front end, on the actual conscious side, you're not consciously creating this, but subconsciously there's a little drawer in the back of your head. You know, if we're looking at this in a very compartmentalized visual, there's this little drawer, there's this little box that's like, yeah, more. I like that. There's like this almost sadistic, kinky version of you that's like, give me more of that. Even though consciously you're like, no, I don't actually want this, right? And it wouldn't be logical for you to want it, but there is some part of you energetically that is attracted to it, right? You know that it's not what you want. You know that you don't want to create it, but we keep going back to it, right? Because there's a part of us that's like, okay, I mean, yeah, give it to me. And so, I mean, this applies to toxic relationships. This applies to, you know, an unhealthy view of money, right? We do this with money a lot because as a society, we love to demonize money. So until we break apart from those patterns, we're never going to have a different relationship with money, right? This is some of the first work that I did when I was still on food stamps and creating a different relationship with money, and now having created a 7-figure business where I love money and money comes to me all the time and I receive money at crazy rates, right? This is something that I have had to do from the very beginning, from day one. So what I want to move into here is really understanding that when we're working in the realm of higher consciousness, right? When you're working with people that have a high emotional intelligence, they deeply care about the consciousness factor, they are going to I don't want to say that they're going to convert slower, because that doesn't seem true. Even if I say it out loud, it doesn't seem true. What I mean to say by this is that there is going to be a very specific and intentional process that you take and that they take before entering your world. So if you think about something like something that is open to be going viral to the masses, anyone can buy it. Anyone at any time can buy it. It's for everyone everywhere. Okay? That is something that you push, and you push it out there. You want to get as many people in as possible. The focus is volume, right? When big companies like Coca-Cola and Gatorade and water bottle companies, right? Like I don't know why I'm thinking of beverages, but like what they're tracking is consumption, numbers, volume. And when we are running a mentorship-based business, right? We're offering a service, we're offering mentorship, we're offering education, whatever it may be for you, whatever the case may be, you are not necessarily looking for volume. Yes, our focus is sales, right? Sales is the oxygen of any business. It doesn't matter what your business is. But let's take the example of Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari is the founder of and creator of Ferrari, okay? And when he first created Ferrari, and at first it wasn't even like open to like for people from the public to purchase them, like he was creating them to be raced and for for races, and then eventually people were like, okay, I want to buy one. And then what he did was he created what I call in my world intentional exclusivity. So there was this level of exclusivity that it wasn't just something that people can impulse buy. It was there was a long I'm assuming a bit of an arduous process where someone would have to go through and wait, and it wasn't like you can just pick it up off the dealer and drive home with it that same day. There was a process, even still now, I'm sure, a different process, albeit different, very different than back when he sold his first Ferraris. But even back then, right, he knew that this is a luxury car. This is to be driven by a very specific kind of person, not someone who just thought of it on a whim, but someone who understands and loves the cars. Like Enzo Ferrari is described as somebody who, like, he would describe his engines and his cars the way someone would describe their lover, right? He was obsessed. He was passionate. He cared so deeply, right? He wanted his product to get into the right hands for the right people. Okay, it wasn't just like, well, anyone can show up at a Walmart, right? The branding for Walmart is the lowest prices ever. So there is certain people who will shop at Walmart, right? And there's obviously nothing against Walmart, right? But like, if you think about Walmart versus Ferrari and you think about the brand and the story and the level of exclusivity, right, from these two companies, there's a very specific type of person that they cater to, and Walmart is a chain store that offers a variety of things. You can buy furniture, you can buy school supplies, you can get your groceries there, right? There's a ton of different things, and it's open to anyone. Anyone can walk through the doors of a Walmart and purchase something. It's open to anybody. It doesn't matter like who you are, right? It does cater to people because of their low price mantra, right? Their low price claims. Ferrari, on the other hand, is someone who, is going to deeply invest, like they're going to spend time and really value and cherish this car because they have the money to invest in it. It's not an inexpensive car. It's not a cheap car. This is a luxury vehicle. This is not just for someone who wants to drive it to work and let it rot in their garage otherwise, right? This is for someone who really values the engine and the horsepower and what it takes to create a beautiful masterpiece of a car like this. Like, someone has to really appreciate that. And I would bet that in those early days when Ferrari was having conversations, Enzo Ferrari was having conversations with these consumers, that if someone was, uninterested in that, like, he wouldn't even want to do business with them. Like, he was someone who cared so deeply about the artistry of his work. He cared so much about engines. He loved engines. Like, he couldn't even bear to watch like people driving his car sometimes, because he would think about the engine. So when we're so connected to our work, our service, our product, right, we understand that there's a very specific type of person who will do well in our world, and a specific type of person who will not do so well in our world because they're just not a fit. And fit is extremely important. It is extremely crucial in every aspect of your business, especially when you are deciding who to work with, right? Think about who you want to be out there sharing your story, sharing their transformation, wearing your merchandise, your branding, and going out into the world to be walking advertisements of your product and your service. Okay. So when we are in a mentorship business, sometimes when we first start our businesses, like if you can think back to when you first started your business, you might have said yes to everyone. I know I did. You can listen to this in Road to Millions call number 1. I talk about how pretty much anyone who wanted to work with me, even if I didn't have a service, I would just go out and create a service for them. I'd be like, you want me to create all your offers and your content and posts for you and do social media engagement for you on your account? Absolutely. Give me 10 minutes. I will write it up, come up with a price point, send it to you. Yep, I can do that. Oh, you want me? Yep, I can do that too. Oh, you want that? Yep. All right, let's do it. Like, I would just find a way because I was just interested in getting paid and getting clients and really like starting to work and build my experience and my skill set. Now, once I had done that, right, and that was 2020, that was 5 years ago. So you can think back to whenever that was for you. Now in your business, your offers look very different, right? You don't have that same mentality of, oh, someone's going to come to me and I'm going to find a way, even if they're not an aligned client, to generate some offer on the spot for them. No, right? You get to think of yourself as a luxury brand, right? Not necessarily in the price point way of thinking about it, even though that may be the case. You might be someone who does a lot of high ticket selling, or you've got some high price premium offers, right? But you are creating something that is bigger than what you would want just the average person to experience. Like if I were to have a conversation with the average person out on the street and we would spark a conversation, I would be really surprised, impressed, and excited if if everything I said landed. If I was talking about consciousness and emotional intelligence and leading from your heart-centered leadership, entrepreneurship, expanding your business. Like most of the people that I meet on a day-to-day, they're not entrepreneurs, right? That's why through my messaging, through my marketing, the people that I connect with, I mean, I do have a circle of friends who are leaders and entrepreneurs, and I have plugged myself into communities that really support and surround me by the people that I really want to be surrounded by, right? And this is really important to me. But when I, go out on the street and I have a conversation with someone, not everybody is going to understand and resonate. That's why I can't just say yes to any person who desires to work with me. I can't just say yes to anybody that feels drawn to my work. It has to be a very specific person. There has to be intentional exclusivity. So going back to what I was saying about how it isn't necessarily about if you are more conscious, it takes a longer for people to sign up for your business, for your offers. That's not what I'm saying, because I've also had very conscious people find me and sign up instantly. It's more so that you want to make your work known, and when there is conscious exchange of services, right? When there is a conscious person purchasing conscious services, it's a feeling. It's a feeling that they get to experience. And there is a group of people where they get there like that. Snap of a finger. They feel it. They know you're conscious. They can feel the energy. And it's like, boom, let's go. I've been seeking you. I've been dreaming about you. You're on my vision board. Did you know that? You're on my vision board, right? And then there are going to be a group of people who they're going to get there, but they're not quite there yet. So this is where we continue to show up. We continue to build. We share from different angles and facets of our work, who we are. We let them feel our heart. So there always is going to be a group of people who feel your heart instantaneously, right? They feel it. It speaks to them, it draws them in, and they're hooked. They're in, they've taken out their credit card and they're ready to pay you. They're like, I'm in, send me the link. I can't even wait until tonight. I need to be in your program right now, right? And we love those people, but we also love the people where they're like, okay, all right, okay, I see what you're doing. All right, and there's this consciousness factor. I love that. Okay, that resonates with me. Okay, I feel it in my body. Yes, this is speaking to me. I feel more and more aligned. Okay, send me the details. Let me feel into it. All right, it feels like a yes, like all cylinders are firing. It's a go. Send me the link. I'm in. I'll pay in full, or I'm going to opt for the payment plan. Like, let's get this moving, right? So there's always going to be different groups of people that you're speaking to. However, that response time also has to be in alignment with them being a good fit for your program, right? So we start first with the fit, and then we go into, okay, there's going to be a group of people who are going to feel it instantly and jump in. And then there's going to be a group of people who just need to see you continuing to show up, that just need to see your content from different angles, need to see you in different lights. They need to feel your work. They need to experience your work. They need to be in your world for a bit, not because it takes a long time for people to convert, but because people have different response times and buying personalities and buying characteristics that then allow them to be like, okay, not only do I now trust you, I trust myself. and I trust myself to say, yes, hand over my credit card. I'm willing to part with this money that I have. I'm willing to hand it over to you. I'm willing to part with it because I see the transformation is actually greater than me holding on to this money. And so take my money. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this work. And that is a really powerful way of speaking to your clients. And that is why when we launch a new product, when we launch a new service, when we are selling and creating messaging and speaking to our people or having sales calls with our people, and it might not be happening at this rate, right? Because there are people out there who they push and they lean on urgency and they lean on sales calls and ads and funnels and all the ways, right? And none of that is necessarily wrong unless it's out of alignment. But for someone who is running a very conscious leadership movement, right? You want to bring in the right people. You want to bring in the aligned people who are a aligned, congruent fit. You are actually checking. I actively check the fit with my higher self. When someone wants to enter my world, I will check the fit on a scale of either 1 to 10 or 0 to 100%. And I actually recently did that with one of my payment processor platforms that I decided to join. One of them was a 30% fit and one of them was over 90% fit, right? So I like to actually check the percentage of fit from my higher self based on the decisions I want to make. And sometimes I can just feel into it intuitively. If it's a strong no, I kind of know that right off the bat. And if it's a strong yes, I also know that right off the bat. But if I'm not quite sure, or I just want to be able to check in and ensure, then I will check the fit with my higher self. And it gives me it gives me a really great spectrum to understand fit and also to be able to trust my intuition and to surrender in that way. So when you're speaking to your people, right, and I understand that on a human level, on a human experience level, it can feel a bit discouraging when we put something out there and let's say we just did this entire masterclass, right? And let's say a handful of people signed up. Let's say 5 people signed up and your goal was 15. You want 15 people in and 5 people signed up. So I do think it's very normal and common to experience the disappointment of that. But what I also want to add in here is that you don't make it wrong. You don't make that mean something's gone wrong. I understand that from a numbers perspective, it's like, oh, well, I wanted 15 and I have 5, so I failed. Right? I do think that is very much like the corporate kind of, very logical, linear, analytical way of looking at things, which I also don't think is necessarily wrong. I just don't think that it is the most supportive for conscious-led, heart-centered businesses, especially since it's not about product and volume and the size of how many things we can sell in a day. It's, are we bringing in the right people who are a correct fit, who are aligned to this mission and aligned to what we're doing? Are we getting in front of the right people? Are the right people understanding what it is that we offer? Did our messaging, did we nail our messaging? Did we dial in on exactly who we want to speak to? Did that feel clear? Right? There are things that are more important because we're speaking to a very specific person and we're creating that intentional exclusivity because we want to bring in the correct person, the aligned fit, who isn't just going to stay in our world for a short period of time, get what they need and go. We're working with people who we want them to be a part of our world long term. We want them to stay and buy everything. I have women in my mastermind, they're on their 3rd round. I love those women. I love women who are like, yep, get me an alumni. I just started and I want year number 2 with you already. I love those women. Those are the women inside my mastermind. 2 of my women, one of them joined 1 month later, and one of them joined literally within a couple of weeks. She had not even joined. She did not even attend the first call of the mastermind, and she had already ascended up to alumni. Those are the kinds of women that I speak to. Those are the kinds of women who are like, yes, I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I feel it. And when it comes to attracting the right person, it's not about volume. It's not about let me get as many people in as possible so that I can see all these numbers growing. It's can I focus on the very specific person that I can serve, that their life is going to change because of our work together. That is how we started, and that is how our legacy must grow, is one client at a time in a heart-centered, conscious way. That is how we grow. Because even if we go into teaching a live masterclass and there's only 10 people there, you never know who can tune in afterwards and buy all your programs. You never know that one person, one of the people who attended your masterclass can buy a 6-figure offer from you. That one person, their lifetime spend can be $50,000 with you, right? We get very focused on volume and numbers and wanting it to mean something, or we make it mean something about us. And that's not to say like throw numbers out the window and fuck numbers. Like, that's not what this episode is about. This is really about how can you see your business differently. Where we are trained to look at metrics and numbers and growing numbers, can you see it as, I love my clients so much that I am so focused on bringing in aligned, exclusive people who are a best fit for my work. And that doesn't necessarily have to equate to lower numbers. You can hold the duality of growing numbers with aligned clients. Okay? So that's the point I want to make, is not just volume for the sake of volume. And it also doesn't have to be, okay, aligned clients, but lower numbers. It's not mutually exclusive. It's not like we have to separate them in that way. But it is important to keep that in mind, right? That there are so many infinite ways that we can connect to our clients and that our clients can find us. And I really think one of the biggest things that we forget, or that we don't think about, is we make things feel very transactional, to a point where if we put out this one podcast episode, or we post this one photo, this post on Instagram, or I just did an entire masterclass series, and then we open and wait and look around and we go, okay, where are the clients now? I did the thing. Where's the results? I put in the input. Where's the output? Right? We look at it very transactional. And in a logical world, yes, obviously there is a layer to, you're going to take action and people are going to find you and pay you, right? That is very logical, and that is truth. That is truth. However, what I think happens is if we get too fixated on that, if we get too hyper fixated on that, we start closing client pathways, right? So if you can imagine, when you're in a launch, you have this client pathway come in through an email series. You have another client pathway come in through a masterclass that you did. And there's another client pathway that you open up from your Instagram, right? So you open up these client pathways so that clients can come in, they can enter your world, they can pay you and join your offers and your programs, right? But what I think happens is we get so hyper fixated on clients only coming from these pathways, and results only coming from when we have executed these pathways, that we start closing ourselves up from the infinite amounts of ways that clients can come in and find us. We start closing ourselves up from the infinite and beyond, where clients can say, oh my goodness, I just saw this post. It showed up on my feed. I've never seen this person before. I dove into their work. Okay, now I'm on their website. I just purchased their masterclass and now I want to apply to their mastermind. This is amazing. I can't believe I haven't found this person before. Someone found me, and within the same week, right? She found me and she started having dreams about me. She started having dreams about my academy that I was selling at the time. She was like, wake up, think of Tiffany, think of BAA. Oh my gosh. And then she paid in full by the end of the week. I had a woman who joined my mastermind. She wasn't even a part of my masterclass. She attended a live that I did after the masterclass. She attended the live, and at the end of the live, she applied, and then she paid in full, and now she's in my mastermind. I am so open to these multiple and infinite pathways that clients can find me, because I also believe that my higher self and the spirit of my business is always working to bring aligned clients to me. Just because I'm saying yes to my purpose, just because I'm doing this work, because it's connected to what I'm meant to be doing here on this planet in this lifetime, I believe that the spirit of my business is like, yes, okay, all right, this person's ready. Oh, this person's ready over here. Oh, this person's ready too. Yes, let's go. Like, the spirit of my business is doing its job to bring the right people to me that I am designed to serve, that I am destined to serve, right? And it's not from a hierarchical point of view where I am their guru and I'm here to save them, because I don't subscribe to that. I don't think that that's true. I am the guide, but they are the source. I'm just guiding them back to themselves. And sometimes we are meant to meet certain people on our path that help us to do that, because we forget. We forget who we are, and we forget what we're capable of, and we forget that we have more power than we even realize. And so that's really the point of this episode. Honestly, like, if you were to get down to the bottom of it, you have more power than you realize. You listening to this right now, yes, you have so much more power than you realize. You have so much more ability and magic to create what it is that you want to create in your business, in this legacy that you're building. And this gets to be the way that you lead from. It doesn't have to be about massive quantities. You only need one aligned client to make your next, say, 10K, right? If your one-on-ones are at 10K, you don't need 100 people. You just need one person. I only need one person to join the chamber. That's 2,500, right? But if I'm just focusing on the money, the clients don't come, because that's a different energy. We really do have to be aligned to what we're creating. So when I talk about the chamber, my energy isn't, I hope I sign another client because I really want to make $2,500. Yes, you get to hold the duality of, I love making money and I'm open to making money, and money can come to me in all ways. And I also want to serve more people. I want more people to have access to high level trainings, riffs like this one, step-by-step strategies, so they can go and take action in their business and create massive results, make sales. That is something that I am so deeply aligned to. And I know that money is a byproduct of that. I know that money comes as a result of who I'm being and how I'm leading through. So I'm not just focusing on money and volume to create more money and more volume. I am connected to the heart of my business. That's really what heart artistry means, is I'm connected to the heart of my business, my purpose, my passion, what I'm here to create. This is my vision. I have a vision for the world. I have a vision for entrepreneurs being heart-centered and conscious in the way that they lead their businesses. And until I die, this is my life's work. The rest of my life is going to be committed to heart-centered, conscious entrepreneurs who are connected to higher consciousness, who are connected to the higher realms. Because I know that, like, if you even look at it, business doesn't even exist. business on its own doesn't exist. It's just you're solving problems, you're connecting to people, right? It's always about people. It's always about the human first. And that's really what the chamber stands for. Is it is a place that fuels the human. It's a place that comes and fuels the human, and it fuels the CEO, because you're building your identity, you're expanding yourself in the way that you see yourself. And then you also have a living library of strategies. I just posted a 3-step Instagram story strategy that you can literally post and make sales instantly, so that you can go plug into the chamber, get what you need, and then go and take massive action. Because that's what I want for entrepreneurs. I want you to be connected to your heart space. I want you to download from higher consciousness, your guidance, your direction, and then go and take massive action in your business, because we've got work to do. We have legacies to build, right? The chamber is not a place where I want someone to spend tons and tons and tons of time. I want it to be a place where you come in, you get what you need, you get charged up, and then you go and take massive action. You go and sell, you go and lead a launch, right? This is what we're here to do. So to wrap this up, the last thing I want to share here is we get to fall in love with the joy and the high of entrepreneurship. Okay, it's not just about getting to a specific level of money and then stopping. It's also not about just chasing money over and over and over and over. It is about becoming better every single day, creating a product and a service that is mind-blowing. James Dyson, the founder of Dyson, he created something like, was it like 5,000 or 2,000 different prototypes of the vacuum. And he would just go home and go in his studio and create and recreate it and do it over and over again. And until it worked, he said he would come home covered in dust every single night. And he wanted to do this it wasn't about the business, right? Because there are some entrepreneurs where it's like you get to a certain amount of money and then it's like, well, aren't you going to just like retire and go and be, you're an investor, you're a founder, you're an entrepreneur, you made all this money. Okay, well, can't you just go and hand it off to someone and go lay on a beach in the Bahamas somewhere? It's like, no. For the ones who really feel it in their heart, the ones who are true heart artists, this is the artistry of your heart. It's not separate from you. It's your heart. Your heart can't be separated from you. It's like if you highlighted that one organ in your body, that one chakra in your body, it's like nothing else would work. What would the heart pump blood into? Right? There would be nothing. The heart only works when the rest of the body is there. And the rest of the body only works when the heart is there. The whole thing is one big ecosystem, as is your business, as is your movement, as is the revolution that you stand for. This is what we're here for, right? You have a big vision. You have a big mission. There's something that drives you every single morning. It gets you out of bed. Right? It's not because you had one more sign up or 20 more signups because you're creating volume for the sake of volume. You are here to build something that is changing the lives of the collective. You are here to create something that's going to change humanity. This is a legacy that's going to go down in history. Right? Imagine a history book, like you are going to be written in history books. What are they going to say about you? What are they going to say about your grit and your resilience? This is why when we look at our numbers are going down in my stories, or someone didn't like this post, or, this didn't get as much traction as I thought it would be, or this masterclass had 50 less signups than I did the last time around. It's like, if we cannot focus on those things, like, yes, the duality of like, we do get to look at it and think about story strategies and what's going to bring in more fresh eyes, right? Sometimes it is a matter of getting new people to your audience, so we can hold the duality of that, right? Because we are building our businesses on social media, and that is important, but we can also layer it, right? We can also layer it with knowing, trusting, believing that your work, who you are, your heart, your passion is so powerful, and that the spirit of your business is constantly working with you and for you, even while you're sleeping, to bring you the aligned people. That you are greater than the algorithm. You are greater than a machine. You are greater than a social media app. You are greater. You are bigger. You are more legendary. You are smarter. You are far more intelligent. You cannot be replicated. And I think sometimes we give so much weight to these things because we make them mean something so big. Or we make a failed launch mean something so big. Or we make a client leaving our world so big. And we make it mean I can't do that. I'm so discouraged. I'm throwing in the towel. I don't know how to continue on. And it's honestly in those moments where it feels so hard to continue that it feels like you're dragging yourself through like quicksand, right? Where that is really where you build the love and the passion for what you're creating. This is where you reconfirm, renew your vows, so to speak, to your business, to your purpose, to your passion, to what you're here to do. No business owner sets out to just build a business, right? We might have fallen at some point into the rules and the guidelines and the gurus and the strategy, right? Which is why I teach strategy. I love teaching sales and social media and messaging strategy specifically, which is what I do inside the chamber. But the reason I created the chamber is for someone very specific who's willing to do the identity work, who is leading with frequency first, who is already a heart-centered, conscious entrepreneur. So by the time you add on those strategies, you're not just hoping, okay, well, Tiffany said to do the strategy, so I'm going to do the strategy. All right, why didn't the strategy work? All right, the strategy must be broken. It's us leading from a powerful place where we know who we are. We're aligned to our work. Our purpose and our passion is created from the inside out. And then by the time we add a strategy, it's like that supercharged, it's already supercharged by who we are and who we've chosen to be. Because the strategy is not the magic, we are. We're the magic. And we get to fall in love with that process of doing this work, of leaning into our power, of leaning into what we get to create here in this lifetime, and see how big it gets to be. See how massive it gets to be. Not because it's going to mean something about us, but because we know who we are and we know that we're here to create a massive impact. And I just want to remind you of that in case you forgot, in case you got distracted by the numbers, in case you got distracted by a launch that didn't go as planned, in case you got distracted by a hard client conversation or situation that kind of took you out a little bit. Can you be reminded who you are and what you're here to create and what you said yes to and what you committed yourself to, because this is your legacy. It's not just a business. In fact, it isn't a business at all. This is your movement. And you are the leader, and you are the CEO, and you are here to create something truly extraordinary. But it starts with you, and it starts with you seeing yourself as extraordinary. Because guess what? The normal, everyday, ordinary person would throw in the towel. They would give up. They would walk away. They would say, yep, this is too much. This is a lot. I'm not seeing the results in the timeline that I thought I would. I'm not where I thought I would be by now. This is a lot of, I still have to keep going, and I still have to keep leveling up, and I still have to keep working on that, and I still have to expand my identity, and I still have to work on these shadows, and I still have to heal these wounds and triggers that I've already done multiple times, but yet they're coming back. So there's more to process and there's more to clear. Yes, but we do it because we're here to grow and expand and up level and explode in a way that is beyond the ordinary. The ordinary is, let me get a 9-to-5. That feels safe and comfortable, that my parents told me to do so that I can get by and have a safe, comfortable life. But the extraordinary is I'm going to go beyond and I'm going to create something that's never been created before, because I see that for myself. I see a vision, and no one else is going to bring this vision into the world. It chose me. The spirit of your business chose you. So can you honor that? Can you lean into that? Can you renew your vows to that, to your business, to the life that you desire to create? Because I know if I'm speaking to you, you're listening to this podcast, I know that you are someone who is deeply passionate about your work. I know that you are someone that, you don't see it as like I'll work on my business during these hours and during this time, and until I get this result. It's like you love this so much. You're so dedicated and connected to it. You can't imagine your life without it. It's not separate from you because it's your heart. It's your heart's artistry. It is the artistry of your heart, of your passion, of your purpose. That is why it is so deeply entangled within you. It is you. It's an expression of you. Right? So we covered a lot today. We talked a lot about quantity. We talked about intentional exclusivity. We talked about speaking to the right people, the right fit. We talked about building your business as a legacy and a movement. We also talked about what to do when you're feeling discouraged and a little disconnected from your work, or you're not seeing the results that you want, and what to really keep in mind as you continue to keep going, right? Because the greats that came before you, the inventors and the founders and the entrepreneurs and the people who created brand new industries before they were even a thing, the people who created products that weren't existent before them, right? That set out to revolutionize an industry, to revolutionize the world. They challenged every single thing that they were ever taught, every single belief that they were given. They challenged everything. They dropped out of college. They went against all odds. They spent the last of their life savings. They did crazy, unimaginable things that shock us and have shocked the world. But it also worked because they saw the vision even when nobody else did. And guess what? No one else needs to see the vision. The vision was shown to you. You are the beholder of the vision. It was meant to find you. And that is your legacy. This is your work. This is your global movement that you are building. So if this aligns to you, and if this feels like, I have chills and tingles, I want you to send me a DM if this feels aligned to you to do so. I want you to send me a DM. And I want you to tell me some of your thoughts, what's going through your mind right now. Tell me a bit about your vision. I want to hear it. I always want to hear from you all. It makes me so happy when you all message me and say, I just listened to this episode and here's what I thought and this is what I'm going to go do, or here's my recent win and I just want to share it with you because I knew you'd understand. Like, I know that heart-centered, conscious entrepreneurship can sometimes be like, where are my people? Where is my community? So just know that you have me. I'm in your corner. I am here to support you. And I love getting messages from you all. So you can just share a reflection, a win with me. But if you're feeling called, I'd love for you to send me a message and say, hey, I'm feeling called to work together. Okay, so if you are feeling called to deepen into this work together, if you're feeling called to hire me as your mentor, I've got a couple of options in different price ranges that would be amazing fits for where you are right now in your business. So we'll have a conversation. We'll see what are your immediate goals? What are you working towards? What feels sticky? What feels like you want the most support around? And what would be the best option for you? Okay. Again, I have a couple offers. I have a couple different options based on where you're at and based on what you want to create, whether that's more one-on-one work, whether that's jumping into the mastermind, magic mind, whether that's jumping into the chamber, which is my high energy, high frequency membership that gets you access to the best of the best trainings on both energetics and sales strategy. So I have got some different offers. I also offer Telegram coaching. So based on where you're at, based on what you feel drawn towards, I know how to guide that conversation with you. All you need to do is send me a DM and say, hey, I'm thinking about working together and I'd love to hear a little bit about you. And I will go and lead it from there. Okay. If you are already feeling into the chamber, you've heard some of what I've shared about it already. You are like, oh, that sounds like something that I would love to be a part of. The chamber is my premium high frequency trainings membership. It is hosted on Telegram, and there is a portal where you will plug into that you'll get access to, where I drop multiple trainings every single week on essentially everything you need under the themes of identity, sales, messaging, magnetism, what's going to make you sales in your business this week, what is going to fuel your CEO identity this week. So far, I'm just scrolling in there. So far, we have how to hold the power of your offer when you're getting no's in the middle of a launch and how to turn it around to create new sales right now. Exactly what to do to turn an on-the-fence audience into ready and paid clients. How to expand your capacity to receive more money now. 3 Instagram story sales strategies to instantly magnetize DM inquiries and sales calls. Behind the scenes and fully leaning into the evolution of your business. We've got so many different trainings in here that some of them are identity and energetics focused. Some of them are step-by-step strategies, like the one on 3 Instagram story sales strategies. I literally share with you slide by slide exactly what to say about your offer to have clients running to your DMs. I teach you how to showcase your artistry, share client wins, talk about your signature offer. I break down each of these options, what to say on each slide, including different prompts, examples, and call to action options that you can use to bring clients into your business. I know how important it is to fuel your identity and to sell from a place of power. Okay, so that's why a big piece of this membership is getting you in your power, in your highest identity, and led by your higher self. And then from there, you have the actions that you can go and take, these sales strategies, messaging strategies, so that it feels extremely clear exactly what you're offering. Dial in on your messaging to speak to your aligned clients so that they know exactly what you offer and they want it and they're ready to pay you and they're ready to hand over their credit card right now. I know how important that is when you're building your business, especially when you're utilizing social media. And so I am sharing those social media strategies, sales strategies, messaging strategies, Instagram story and DMs. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I mainly sell on my Instagram stories and then I close clients in the DMs. That is my signature strategy. That is my signature framework. I've been doing it for years. I don't run sales calls. I don't send cold DMs. This is what I do. This is how I nurture and close my clients. And I am teaching you those exact strategies in the way that I do them. And so the chamber is for you to come, not spend a ton of time, right? I want you to come in like a charging station, come in, get charged, get what you need, and then go and take massive action. Come in, get what you need, get charged up, and then go and sell and make money in your business, because I know how important that is. And sometimes if you're like Tuesday afternoon, it's in the, almost in the middle of the week, you want something to just, you can implement it right away, make sales. This is it. This is the membership for you. It's designed for conscious visionaries and leaders who are selling offers, coaching, mentorship, group programs, masterminds, digital courses, one-on-one work. This is for you. So if you are like, yes, get me inside the chamber right now, there is a link. You can read through it. You can feel into it. And if it feels aligned, you can purchase straight from that link. You can also send me a DM and say, hey, I'd love to hear more details about the chamber. I will be more than happy to share those details with you. And if you're like, you know what, I want to jump straight into Magic Mind, the mastermind. This is my high level business mastermind for my more seasoned entrepreneurs. And Magic Mind includes the chamber. So if you want high touch mentorship, 2 to 3 calls with me a month, including a beautiful 24/7 Slack channel where you can get coaching from me on anything, anytime, and really have me in the corner of your business, planning out your launches, restructuring your sales processes, really helping you to identify how to make more money through higher consciousness in your business. Magic Mind is absolutely the place to be. So you can DM me and learn more about the chamber. You can learn more about Magic Mind. You can share with me a little bit about where you are, and I can offer the best option for you based on my recommendation, and we can go from there. So you can send me a DM at tiffanychung.co on Instagram, and we can talk deeper about this. Thank you so much for tuning into this incredible episode, and I will see you on the next episode of the Heart Artistry Podcast.